Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to yet another tropical update here on Liam's Weather. I am meteorologist Tim Kenny. I want to say that I want to kind of stop talking about the tropics, but I can't, considering we still have a lot going on. And I was just taking a look at the satellite imagery near Africa right before I started filming this video, and believe it or not, after 90 and 91L, we have two other areas after that that could potentially get names. I honestly can't believe it, considering we've already seen so much action this hurricane season, and we're now looking at even more coming within the next several weeks. Obviously, this is the most active time of the season, but to have even more storms than we have had this season, it just honestly blows my mind how active this season has been. All right, I do want to inform y'all we have some breaking news. Invest 90L has now become Tropical Storm Victor, and fun fact, we are now down to only one name left on our named list. Obviously, you all know we have a list that we use to name all the hurricanes and tropical storms we get. And last season we were well past that list of names. We actually got into the Greek alphabet, but because of some reasons that I think that I don't know off the top of my head, we cannot use the Greek alphabet to name any more storms. However, we do have a brand new secondary list that I will show you coming up in just a couple of minutes, all right? Okay, so where is Tropical Storm Victor right now? Or it was Invest 90L. It's actually right here. You can kind of see the central circulation trying to spin somewhat. Here's 91L. And then also, before we go any further, look at these other two tropical waves that are about to come off Africa. Here's one right here, and then another one is right in here. It's kind of out of our viewing area, but you can definitely kind of see how it's trying to stay intact. So we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 different waves that we're watching. One of them is Tropical Storm Victor. The second one is Invest 91L. And then we also potentially have 2 more Invest to watch out for. But right now, our main concern above all is Tropical Storm Victor. It's currently a 40-mile-per-hour tropical storm. The central circulation is about 540 or so miles south of the Cabo Verde Islands. The low minimum pressure is about 1,005 millibars. And let me remind you all, as soon as we see that pressure decrease, that means we're seeing an increase in strength. And it's currently moving west-northwest at 13 miles an hour. And it's forecasted to become a Category 1 hurricane come Friday night with winds of around 80 miles an hour. However, if it does become a hurricane at all, it will not be a hurricane for very long. We're already talking about going back down to tropical storm strength come Saturday afternoon, and then staying a tropical storm throughout the rest of its life into Sunday. However, whether it becomes a hurricane or not, it's going to be heading straight into the central Atlantic Ocean, and will eventually impact nobody. So long story short, is no threat to the United States at all. Here, the spaghetti models, once again, these are all the different models giving you their own opinion of what they think the system is going to do. Really, they're all definitely in agreement that it will be heading right into the central of the Atlantic Ocean, and then taking a turn northeast as soon as it gets influenced by the Bermuda High. And as far as how strong the system goes, once again, could become a Category 1 hurricane within the next 36 to 40 hours, and then eventually going back down to the tropical storm strength. But long story short, once again, the system is going to be impacting nobody. And long story short, importantly, is not going to be impacting anybody in the United States at all, all right? Now, we still have to talk about Tropical Storm Sam because it is now a major hurricane. Again, I think it actually didn't stop becoming. I don't think it didn't become a major hurricane at this point, but it is still a very nice looking hurricane of satellite imagery. You can definitely see the eyewall was definitely a little bit more well defined over the last several hours, and it's kind of maybe starting to diminish right at the end of the frame. But I also want to let you all know that we're now starting to see some of the outer bands try and make their way down into portions of the Lesser Antilles near the Barbados, Puerto Rico, and the island of Hispaniola. And as we're getting that northern push, we could be looking at a couple of high swells and also a slight increase in rip current. So if any of you are planning to go swimming or go boating out of any of these islands tomorrow, I would not suggest that. Try maybe wait a couple of days or so until we can get Sam out of here, and then you should be fine. But over the next several days, if you live in Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, really anywhere in those islands, I would definitely try and wait over the next several days until Sam gets out of here to do anything over the water, especially swimming or anything else like that, all right? Currently currently a 130 mile per hour Category 4 hurricane. Once again, anything that is a 3, 4, or 5 category, a Category 3, 4, or 5 hurricane is going to be in that major hurricane stage. We're still seeing the pressure really, really low. We're now at 945 millibars, and it's continuing to move northwest at 9 miles an hour. And we could be looking at a strengthening system once again, potentially going from a 130 mile per hour Category 3 hurricane tonight to a 140 mile per hour Category 4 hurricane come tomorrow afternoon, and then eventually becoming very, very close to Bermuda anywhere between Friday and Saturday. So if anybody that is watching from Bermuda right now, you should definitely be watching the system very, very closely, especially as we head into Friday and Saturday, because we could be looking at a major hurricane within 100 miles from your shore, and then eventually it will finally decrease in strength as soon as it gets influenced by the Bermuda High. Really, all the spaghetti models are definitely in agreement that it will continue to head northwest, and then until really it finally gets kind of moved by the Bermuda High, and then it might start to be taking that northeastern turn. But long story short, is no threat to the United States at all. As far as the intensity goes, probably getting up to Category 4 hurricane again by tomorrow afternoon, and then getting very close to Bermuda, either as a very strong Category 3 hurricane or in a low-grade Category 4, and then eventually kind of diminishing out as it heads into the North Atlantic off the coast of New England. But long story short, the system is absolutely no threat to the United States at all, all right? Now, I was telling you earlier that we only have one named storm left on our original list that we are currently using right now. And a lot of you know that last year we used the Greek alphabet to name storms, and because of some reason that I do not know off the top of my head, we are not allowed to use the Greek alphabet anymore. And because of that, we now have a brand new list that we will use to name tropical systems. So, God forbid that all those tropical waves that are coming off of Africa do get named. Our first one is going to be Adria, followed by Braylon, Caridad, Deshaun, Emery, Foster, and Gemma. That is the first list, or that is the first column. And then we have Heath, Isla, Jacobus, Kenzie, Lucio, Michaela, and Nolan. And last but not least, our last little section includes Orlando, Pax, Ronan, Sophie, Tayshawn, Viviana, and then also Will. So once again, God forbid we get any more named storms after we use all of our names that we're currently using right now. We will move on to the secondary list, and let's hope that we don't get any more hurricanes, because we want our pizza party that is going to be happening on December 11th. That's going to be held at the Myrtle Beach Pelican Stadium in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on 21st Avenue North. And in case you all aren't aware of this, we have a very special guest joining us. Mr. Jim Cantori, probably the most known meteorologist in the world of the Weather Channel, will hopefully be joining us come December 11th for this pizza party. So once again, if we do not have any landfalling hurricanes this season in the state of South Carolina, we are planning to have a pizza party on December 11th at the Myrtle Beach Pelicans Baseball Stadium in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina on 21st Avenue North with special guest from the Weather Channel, Mr. Jim Cantori himself, all right? Now, with the tropics out of the way, I will be right back with your latest forecast as we talk about our local area. Alrighty, so now that we have the tropics out of the way, let's talk about our forecast as we head into tomorrow and then eventually into our weekend, because we might see a small chance of rain as we head into tomorrow, and the reason for that is because of this cold front that's approaching us from our north, and then eventually as we head into tomorrow, it sinks down south and brings us a very small chance of rain. But in order to see that rain, you're going to have to be right along the coastline, considering we're going to be getting our moisture coming up from the southeast and also the southern Atlantic Ocean. So once again, if you want to be one of the ones that sees rain tomorrow, you're going to have to be right along the coastline, anywhere from Wilmington, North Carolina, down to Myrtle Beach, into Pawleys Island, Murrells Inlet, and then eventually down into Charleston, and then also getting into portions of Hilton Head, South Carolina. But thankfully, that is not only going to be our only chance of rain. As we head into the middle portions of next week, we have our next shot of rain. The reason for that is because of an area of low pressure that will be over portions of Louisiana. And as we're getting that southwestern push, we might see some moisture coming up from portions of the Gulf. And then last but not least, an area of high pressure that's currently over our coastline. That's going to be drawing in moisture from the southeastern Atlantic. And as you can guess, we're going to be right in the middle of that moisture push. So as we head into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, we might see our next shot of rain, which honestly we need very, very bad at this point, all right? Taking a look at our 10-day outlook, once again, a very small chance of rain right along the coastline because of that cold front coming in. Honestly, though, it's not really going to affect our temperatures at all. We're still going to be topping out in the 80s in the afternoon, dropping down into the high 60s overnight. A gorgeous end to the week and eventually into the weekend. Plenty of sunshine with afternoon highs in the low 80s dropping down to the high 60s to low 70s overnight. And then eventually, as you start next week, then we get our next shot of rain and potentially a slight drop in temperatures.